We're happy to have Bishop Ron Allen with us today. He is a member of the Board of Trustees of the Interfaith Council of Greater Sacramento and also the President and CEO of the International Faith-Based Coalition. Thank you for joining us.
We're glad to be here today, Mr. Fish.
Give us some background, please, on your family, where you were born and raised, and tell us about wife and children and those kinds of things that we might know more a little about you.
I was born right here in Sacramento, and to many individuals that's pretty strange to say Sacramentan. I have 6 kids and 5 beautiful, wonderful grandchildren. I've been married to Gail Allen. We call her Lady Gail for 27 years. I'm a 3rd-generation pastor and absolutely love being in Sacramento. I've tried to move in different areas, different cities, but always made my way back home.
And the grandchildren are as terrific to you as they are to me?
Absolutely. I can't imagine if there could be anything better. Maybe great-grandchildren, but we'll have to see. Everybody
healthy and well?
Yes, they are. Thank you.
We know Lady Gail because she associates with us, and she's a wonderful woman. She usually travels with you and is with you. Is that something you've done since the kids got older, or how has that unfolded?
Well, yes. The last, excuse me, the last 15 years, we decided that we were better together than alone, and decided that we would work together in real estate and in ministry. And about 15 years ago, she came off her job and decided to be my partner, not only in marriage, but in business and in ministry. And I'm very spoiled. I wouldn't be able to be successful without her on my side. She's in the front, yes.
She's a lovely woman. How about your education? Tell us a little bit about that. We know a little, but tell our viewers more, please.
Well, I, of course, went to elementary school right here in Sacramento, Donner Elementary in the Oak Park area, underserved community of Oak Park, and went to Peter Lassen. Many people do not know that. And unfortunately, my mother passed, and we moved to the South area, and I finished up at, went to Burbank and graduated from Hiram Johnson. Went to Consumnes River College and received an AA degree in public speaking, and decided that I should go to theology college. And right now I have a doctorate of theology, a doctorate of evangelism, and some great education facility decided that I should have an honorary doctorate of divinity. And so we were very pleased with that and happy with the education that I have been able to receive in Sacramento, California.
Now, I've listened to you speak and have delighted in that. Did you know early on that was something you wanted to do?
No, sir. Are you kidding me? I'm still terrified of public speaking. Many individuals don't know that, but I'm grateful to have an opportunity to be a public speaker and maybe help someone along the way.
You said you're 3rd generation in the faith. Your father and grandfather?
Yes.
What religion?
Baptist pastors. I grew up in the home, born into a pastoralship. I knew nothing else but pastors, religion, and being a Baptist from day one on this earth.
My paternal grandfather was a strong influence in my life. I loved him and admired him and respected him. Did you feel that way about your grandfather?
Are you kidding me? I miss both my grandfather and father, and I'm honored that I have an opportunity to somewhat walk in their footsteps.
Now, how did you come to Interfaith?
Well, being and when you say interfaith, do you mean the
what we're doing now?
What we're doing now? I had made a concrete decision in my life that I wanted to fellowship with all religions and to be able to understand all religions. And so the greatest organization that's in Sacramento at that time was the Interfaith Service Bureau, which now is the Interfaith Council of Greater Sacramento. And so here I am and have a great opportunity to learn more, not just about religion, but about humanity. It's just amazing what we can learn when we fellowship out of our own denomination.
And have you been well received in the community?
Oh, yes. Well, some hardline religions have rejected me at first, and that was to be understood. And it was because not that they disliked me, but because of, and this is not a bad word, ignorance of the other religions. And so having the opportunity to educate them, now I'm very well received in my own backyard. Across the nation was easy because they didn't know me. But in your own backyard, where you were raised and preached as a Baptist and pastored for Baptist churches, to come non-denominational or to deal with interfaith was a difficult understanding for some individuals.
As the Bible says, being a prophet in your own country is not always as easy as it might appear.
And I can tell you that's a true passage of Scripture, sir.
Let's talk about the International Faith-Based Coalition. You are the president and CEO, and explain to us a little bit more what you're doing there.
You know, the International Faith-Based Coalition is on the same line as Interfaith. The International Faith-Based Coalition is not a religious organization. It is a drug prevention organization that works through faith-based. And that was difficult also. And what I'm going to say to you would be stunning, not only on the local level, but also in the government, to have them to completely understand that drugs affect all people and that drugs have no religious preference. And so the International Faith-Based Coalition, we had made a decision that we were going to work with all religion, humanity, and now that understanding is across the board through the government and through many churches that have accepted the International Faith-Based Coalition. So we are a non-denominational, I should say all denominational, nonpartisan, drug prevention organization, non-political.
Do you find that drugs have a gender or an age?
Well, you know, Mr. President, I was on crack cocaine for 7 years of my life, and those 7 years I was a pastor in a church, and I can certainly tell you the drug of choice is crack cocaine. I never once had a drug dealer ask me what my religion was. They never walked up to me and said, listen, are you Baptist? And I says, yes. They says, we can't sell the Baptists, we only sell the Catholics. That never happened to me, not once. And so drugs have no religious preference. It's about humanity. And we decided that if we were going to affect this nation, affect this world, that we were going to do it through faith-based.
And where will you be in that 5 or 10 years from now? What's the goal out there beyond the obvious of just saying, well, we want to stop drug usage?
Well, drug prevention education seems to be a new word in this world. We understand that through the Office of the White House, Office of National Drug Control Policy, that treatment is number one. And trying to wrest your way out of that addiction is number two, interdiction. And then prevention is number three. International Faith-Based Coalition, we're saying not so. Prevention, education, preventing the problem must be number one. We have to reach our youth and our children before they taste the poison, before they become addicted to that product. And so we believe that through faith-based, introducing a curriculum that can teach individuals about drug prevention, effects of marijuana and crack cocaine and crystal meth and all these illicit drugs, that we will see a change in the community norms. And in 10 years, we believe that we will have such an impact on this nation that we will see the statistics of drugs, especially among our youth, go down.
Is the youth and the children where the houses of faith and our faith-based community need to start?
Yes, sir, absolutely. I have to tell you, if we don't involve faith-based, we will lose this nation. And that it's so critical that we first look in faith-based. And when we say faith-based, again, we mean all religions. Here's a clear example. We have great programs, school programs, Mr. President. The DARE program is an excellent program, but they go into the schools and they're there, what, once, twice a month, maybe twice a year. And the teachers only have the students an hour a day or a semester. But our pastors and our priests and our imams and our faith-based leaders have that family for a lifetime. Where do we want drug prevention taught? We want it taught where the family unit is intact. We want to teach drug prevention education in faith-based, because what's in the community is what's in that mosque, that sanctuary, that tabernacle. And you're going to find all walks of life there. And they're there for a lifetime. Many of our youth are born into that religion, such as I was. And so we totally believe that if we're going to make a change and a difference in drug prevention education and community norms and breaking the cycle of addiction among our youth, we must do it through faith-based.
As you travel about, are you hearing this message taught in the houses of worship?
No, that was the sad reality that we had to come to. 99% of all religions do not understand drug prevention. This is a very, very new concept, especially in the Afro-American church, in the black church. We understand treatment, so therefore we have treatment facilities, and we have transitional living houses, which is excellent. That's perfect. I'm not saying that's not the right thing to do. But when it comes to drug prevention education and having a curriculum, 99% of all religions, they do not have a curriculum. And I can guarantee you that many of our listeners today that are faith-based leaders, if we would poll them and ask them, do you have a prevention curriculum within your facility? We're not talking about a treatment center or beds. Many faith-based have beds, but are you absolutely teaching a drug prevention curriculum in your church, in your faith? I guarantee you, you'll come up with the same statistic. 99% would tell us no.
Now in California, marijuana seems to be the drug that we're most thinking about. Would you teach us and comment on that, please?
Yes, absolutely. As you know, that we had an opportunity to be a part of the campaign of No on Proposition 19, and we won. Marijuana is a gateway drug in two areas. I know individuals are saying it's not a gateway drug, it's not addictive. It is addictive. In fact, we're getting scientific fact now that it is very addictive. The THC in marijuana has skyrocketed. It's no longer the marijuana that the hippies used to smoke in the 1960s. In fact, Mr. President, the marijuana that we used to smoke would make you laugh and giggle. No one's laughing and giggling about the THC that's 27 and sometimes 34, 35%. Now, it is an absolute drug. And it's a gateway on two levels. One, it is the first drug that our youth will try. And so what does it do? It breaks the seal of addiction in the minds of the youth. It introduces their mind and their body to getting high. Isn't that amazing? And so therefore, there's no turning back. Now they have the feeling of getting high, becoming intoxicated with the dope, and so that will lead them to a harder drug because marijuana won't do it for them anymore. And number two, it's a gateway drug because the Drug Policy Alliance and individuals that want to see all drugs legalized in the state of California is using marijuana and trying to legalize marijuana to legalize other drugs. And so marijuana is a very, very dangerous drug, and that's the reason why the federal government continues to say it's a Schedule I drug, and that's the reason why the FDA will not approve it for medicine.
Do you think it will be approved in the future?
No way possible. Absolutely not. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And
Well
the
said.
epidemic of marijuana among our youth is amazing. It's just amazing to see our youth. Here's the question, sir. How do you educate an intoxicated mind? You just cannot. So we need to get that under control. And we need to help a faith base, and we need the help of this nation. The main reason we want our youth to have an opportunity to have a great future.
This educating an intoxicated mind reminds me we live in San Francisco Giants territory, and one of their fans took a pretty severe beating by some people in Los Angeles several weeks ago who were under the influence of alcohol, of course. Do we surrender at some point and just say this is what everybody's doing, or do we keep up the good fight?
Well, you know, excuse me, the example is this. We made alcohol legal, and we have almost 500,000 deaths per year with alcohol. We made tobacco legal, and we have almost 500,000 deaths with tobacco. And now the drug czar, Gil Kernokowski, came out last week and said the drug that most people are overdosing on is pharmaceutical drugs. We made pills legal. Excuse me, did I say illegal? We made pills legal and alcohol and tobacco legal. And now it's the worst in the world. If we make marijuana legal, it's not going to decrease the usage. It's going to increase the usage, such as it did with making tobacco legal, alcohol legal, and pharmaceutical drugs legal. To answer your question, no, sir. We keep up the good fight because we're going to win.
We're in it together.
Yes, sir. We're in it. Yes, sir.
Let's change topics just a little bit and move to Oak Park, where you grew up. I'm well aware that you're involved in a Take Back Oak Park initiative or work. Will you comment on that, please?
Yes, we love Oak Park. And at one time, Oak Park was a beautiful neighborhood. And in fact, it's the oldest neighborhood in the Sacramento area. Right now, you can walk in Oak Park and buy any drug you want. And the murders in Oak Park are horrendous. What we've decided to do is to take a real close look at Oak Park and see if we can be a great help to them. And we believe we can be a help to Oak Park. We need Oak Park to thrive. We need Oak Park to be the neighborhood that it used to be. And with the help of faith-based and individuals like you and our city council, we have decided that we are going to take back Oak Park, and we're not going to quit. We're not going to stop, and we're not going to faint. We're not going to give up. We are going to absolutely turn that underserved community around.
What happened in Oak Park that other neighborhoods might avoid?
What happened in Oak Park was the community stopped caring.
Well said.
They stopped caring, and the neighbors stopped caring about each other, and they allowed gangs to come in and dope to come in, and the corrosion became so ingrained and so deep that now they didn't know how to get out, and it just went across the whole Oak Park community. What I would say to other communities, meet your neighbors, care about each other. It doesn't matter what religion they might be, or what their faith might be, what their creed might be, what their background might be. That's your neighbor. It's about humanity. Meet your neighbor, shake their hand. And those that seem to want to bring drugs and dope and gangs in the community, you have to get rid of them. You have to get them out of the neighborhood. If you don't do it quickly, you too will have a dead community.
I graduated from a high school that had 300 kids in it, and with the exception of a couple of Native Americans, we were all Caucasian. We came to California 30 years ago, and our children graduated from high school with 2,500 kids in it. One of the things my wife and I noticed was there was no color or dress code or any of those other things. They just all liked each other. You and I listened to a woman say the other day in school that when a child is reacting to another, they just say, that boy over there in a red shirt. Is that going to get better in neighborhoods as we go along, or will we still battle that?
It will take the complete neighborhood. It was said at one time, and it is still true, but I want to take it a little further. It takes an entire community to raise a child, but who is going to educate the community is our concern. Our communities must become educated, and we need the parents to pay attention to the children. And when they see the red or the blue, when they see what looks like gang activities, do not be afraid to talk to your child. If you're afraid to talk to your child, you might call me one day to bury them. And unfortunately, I have to look in many coffins of many young people. What a crazy ideal for Afro-Americans, especially, who are 80% of the incarceration, to have war on their own community because someone is wearing blue and someone is wearing red. Let me speak directly, Mr. Fish, to the Afro-American community. We are absolutely losing another generation. We cannot afford to kill each other.
When you and I met at another gathering some months ago and talked about these kinds of issues, the African American leaders were open and honest and fair and just, and I was very, very impressed, wondering at what point in time, though, will we cross the color lines and just be Ron and John? Is that going to happen in our lifetime?
You know, I think it will. I think with people like you and I that are standing side to side against all criticism, but seeing great results, and we have the correct message that this is not about white or black or Christian or Protestant or Jew. This is about humanity. And finally, the message is resonating among other religions and other cultures. And we're seeing that start right here in Sacramento. So I believe we're not wasting our time. It will happen, and you and I will see it in our lifetime.
It feels good and it feels right. And as I said earlier, we're together. We talked earlier about homicides and murders in California and in the nation. Will you comment a little bit about Sacramento? And we've talked about burying children and the other things that unfold there.
You know, it's amazing and shocking that Sacramento is the #2 murder city in the state of California, next to Oakland, California. #2. I never thought that we would ever see this particular day. We have to pay attention to our youth. The majority of individuals that are dying on our street are young adults and youth. And most of the killings are over some drug deal going bad or some turf war. And so I know we want our professional basketball team to stay in Sacramento, but to my heart, there's something more important. Kings, I love you very much, and I hope you stay, but I think that we need to pay attention to the murders that are happening in the Sacramento area.
How can we help the churches and the houses of worship increase the focus and the awareness on these issues?
We can't stay in our four walls. Those faith-based leaders have to cross the line, let down the walls, begin to understand the different religions and embrace each other so that we can walk hand in hand. If we don't do that, we will destroy each other. And so it should behoove us, and I encourage every faith-based leader, come out of your citadel, let down your barrier, break out the walls, and go meet your faith-based leader in your community. Go meet the Sikh and the Baptist and the Catholic and the Muslim and the Buddhist and embrace them. And you'll find out that you will have a better world to live in and a greater community that will be in so much focus.
And is that the greatest spiritual need in America, as you see it, is to simply step out and get closer to one another?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. I'm a Christian, and following the teachings of Jesus and following the teachings of the Holy Bible, it says that it's not God's will that any man should perish. What does that simply mean to us? It's that we need to embrace each other, we need to help each other, we need to love each other, and we need to not see each other as a religion, but as a human being, and begin to understand each other so that we can have a wonderful life on this earth. It's okay for individuals to be different. It's all right. In fact, it's wonderful. And I'll say this, I just want everyone to be like Ron Allen. I think it would be a terrible world.
We have been visiting with Bishop Ron Allen, who is a Baptist minister and the leader of the Interfaith Coalition. I've said that wrong, so I need to start over. The International Faith Base, sorry. We have been visiting with Bishop Ron Allen, who is a Baptist minister and the president and CEO of the International Faith-Based Coalition. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Fish. We love you very much, sir.
Thank you.